Today, we are talking SEO as if I were talking to a 5-year-old. So if you're not sure what SEO is and want to know, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Up in My Business podcast with me, Lex Lancaster, where you'll get an inside look at all things tech, business, and my life as a physical therapist turned digital operations expert. You'll hear all about my lessons as a business owner, the ins and outs of tech for your business, and more. From SEO, websites, and email marketing to automations, launches, and copywriting, I've got you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. As always, before we get into today's episode, I would love to introduce you to the Up in My Business podcast sponsor, Jane. Jane is a clinic management software and EMR with a human touch. Whether you're switching your software or going paperless for the first time, the Jane team knows that the onboarding process can feel a little overwhelming. And that's why with Jane, you don't just get a software, you get an entire team. And that is the whole truth. Included in every Jane subscription is their award-winning customer support available by phone, email, and chat whenever you need it, even Saturdays. You can also book a free account setup consultation to review your account and ensure that you feel confident about going live. And if you'd like some extra advice along the way, you can tap into a lovely community of practitioners, clinic owners, and front desk staff through Jane's community Facebook group. If you're interested in making the switch to Jane, head to jane.app/switch to book a one-on-one demo with a member of their support team. And don't forget, if you mention the code LEX1MO, again, that's LEX1MO at the time of sign up, you'll get a 1-month grace period on your new Jane account. Welcome back to another episode of Up in My Business. I am so excited to have you here listening to this episode today. If you are listening on Monday, the 25th, then SEO School is officially open for enrollment as of now and will be open until Friday, the 29th. So if you want to register for SEO School, which we'll go into SEO School shortly, it is open until Friday night at 11:59 p.m. PST. Just to go into some details about the program, we officially start on April 1st, and you will get new content dripped out to you. It's a hybrid course, so it's all self-led modules, and you will get new content dripped out each week, as well as monthly calls. And the new content will stop coming out about 2.5 months into the course, and then the rest of the course is built for implementation. So that means that the Q&A calls that we have monthly are literally the most customizable things in the world. You can log on, ask your questions. I can give you real-time feedback as if you're on a coaching call with me. You can listen to others' questions. They truly are the best. So if you are looking for actual help with SEO throughout the entire process, then this is for you. I cannot stress enough that 6 months of support is completely unheard of in this industry, and to be able to implement and get your questions answered throughout that process, because SEO takes time, is super ideal and honestly worth, its weight in gold, because I want to help you. I want to make sure you're having success. And when you do the things and you show up to the calls and ask all the questions, I can help you best. So if you're interested in SEO School, make sure you register by Friday. I will put the link in the show notes to register if you're interested. And if not, if you're thinking, well, when's the next time you're offering it? Late fall of 2024. So as of right now, I will likely start again the same time that I did this past cohort. So I think November 1st will be the start date. So if you're looking to wait, that would be the next round. But stay tuned, because you might decide otherwise. If you are, thinking on it at all, you may decide to start sooner. So as always, we'll do some business life updates and then jump into the episode, trying to keep it short as always. Business updates, really, it's just SEO School is open for enrollment. I am officially also booking decently far out for any coaching calls, any discovery calls, any of my do-it-in-a-day services or SEO services. Most things I am not immediately available for. So just understand that if you're looking to book a call with me, make sure you're looking a couple weeks in advance. Most things I can't make happen with emergencies just because I have a retainer service. So all of my retainer clients are my number one priority, and they are who come first. So that time is taken up in my schedule, and then I will take calls on top of that, or, in addition and outside of those hours. So consistently booking decently far out. Make sure you are looking ahead if you want to work with me. And if you have not taken advantage of downloading my service brochure, feel free to take a peek at that. I can link that in the show notes as well. That will be getting updated in the next couple of months, as I also have this little secret that I've been holding in. I'm getting something reworked this week, actually. Super excited for that, but I'll talk more about it once it's done and finalized. But I'm getting something reworked in my business, and then we'll make sure that you know about it when it's ready to go. And then I'm also keeping a big secret that I'm hoping to finish by the end of the year. So really excited for that as well. But I won't give any hints about it. I think it's going to help a lot of people who are in my ecosystem and have, expressed that they need help with certain things. So really pumped for that. And I hate being the person it feels like when someone is like, I need to talk with you later. And I'm like, actually, no, you will talk with me now. Otherwise I'm going to literally blow up on the spot, meaning blow up like into pieces, not yell and scream. It just is very, very hard for me to be like, yeah, I'll talk to you later, but I have no idea what the, the topic of conversation is going to be. So my apologies, but also I do want to get you excited, for that. I am super pumped. So stay tuned. I like sharing that I'm working on something with you all. So when it happens, then it's like, I remember when she had said she was doing that. And I think that's a really fun thing to be a part of. And, jumping off of that, if you follow Sharon McMahon on Instagram, she posts, basically just neutral political information, and, is very educational. She released a book, and it's on pre-sale right now, but she is like crushing the statistics. And I do remember in the beginning when she was, talking about writing a book, and now she's done it and it's getting published. And no, I'm not writing a book, at least not yet, but also just really, happy that she is having the success and just remembering back when she started to write it. So just very, very cool to see that happen. Personal stuff. Let's see here. So not much volleyball this week because it was windy as hell in California. I'm looking out at the palm trees right now. It's Sunday afternoon. It's still light out, but it's sunny, but it's very windy. Like I can see our neighbor cleaning his grill, and he has a beanie hat on. It was very, very warm last week, but wind swoops in and wind makes everything worse. So that's really the end of that story. Wind is not fun, especially when you're playing volleyball. Like honestly, our classes just got canceled. It's not like we decided to not go because of the cold. They just get canceled. A very, very light ball and wind don't really match and work well together. So yeah. So not much volleyball, not much else going on really. I'm like racking my brain. We're continuing to finish furnishing the house, and we have in our living room, Shantae picked out a really awesome carpet and a great couch, which came in last week, and then the popcorn maker. And we made our first batch of popcorn with the popcorn maker yesterday, and it was just so cool. And I know there's a few people who keep asking about tour of the house, and to me, and I know that people have asking Shantae as well, and stay tuned. We're going to be doing like an MTV Crib style. I have the job of holding the camera, which I'm sure you could, between, Shantae and I, Shantae is obviously the more entertaining one and the one who would be the star of MTV Crib. So we're just going to let her do that. My job is to fill the refrigerator with seltzer water and hold the camera. And that's about it, which is totally fine with me, but because I think it'll be amazing. But stay tuned. We'll do like an Instagram live or something on that. No idea when. We want to finish the furnishing of things, which it's all coming along, and my parents are coming in April, so I'm not sure if we're trying to finish it before then, but we're just going like piece by piece, right? It's hard to just, she is very good at this stuff and like decorating, so I'm just honestly following her lead with all of the things. So just loving the process overall, and also just loving the fact that like seeing things come together. Once again, just seeing all the things come together is so, so cool. And I walked downstairs this morning and the blinds were shut. So like just the morning light was coming in, and it was through the semi-transparent curtains, and the light just looks so nice with the carpet and the couch. And it just looks very, very nice in there, and I'm very happy about it. So I'm just super excited to finish that room. And it's just not my strong suit. So to have someone who's good at it and be living with that person is just, obviously incredible, because I know nothing about interior decorating. So we'll just leave it at that. Okay. I really think I'm looking at my week, and I'm like, I really don't think I have any huge personal updates other than that. But yeah, so let's jump into the episode. I had this idea, I'm laughing because someone was like, can you do like an SEO for dummies episode? And I was like, well, I probably won't call it that, but sure. So this episode is going to just be me talking about SEO as if I were teaching it to someone who knew nothing. And I know the title is going to be somewhere along the lines like SEO as if I were explaining it to a 5-year-old. I'm going to focus on my healthcare practitioners, of course, like I typically do, because that's who I market to and who my ideal client is. So I will talk in that regard and just kind of go through things as if you know nothing, which I anticipate and expect that most people do not understand what SEO is and what the value of it is. So I'm going to try not to jump around just because, and I'm going to try to talk a little bit slower than I typically talk, only because I get excited about this stuff. I could rattle off a ton of stuff for you, but that obviously would not be easy for someone who does not know much. So I'm going to start, and we'll see where it takes me. So with SEO stands for search engine optimization. And what that means is that we are taking content that we're putting online and optimizing it, creating it, writing it, editing it to be found by our ideal client when they search things in Google. And it's not just Google. Obviously, most things have a search engine: Pinterest, Google, Bing, Yahoo, Instagram. The thing is, though, is when we optimize for Google, we're capturing over 95% of searches. Most people will use Google as their search engine, so we optimize for Google. As a result, we're also quote unquote optimizing for other search engines, because if we're optimizing for Google, we're optimizing in general, which means that we're going to be found on other search engines as well. So that's what SEO really is, like the baseline. What is it? Now, when I say content, when we publish content online, content means text on your website, whether it's on a web page, on a blog page, on a podcast page, and it's not content on Instagram. So I think people get really confused with content being online, and online is like it's a term, let's put it in parentheses, online. What I'm referring to is actually things that are visible by Google. Instagram content is not visible by Google. So in SEO school, we talk about the value of publishing things on your website because that's seen by Google. Instagram is not. So in the beginning of the course, I will say, if you're consistently publishing on Instagram, that's not doing anything to help you with your SEO, right? It's just not. Now, let's talk about the value of SEO and what that really leads up to ROI wise. So I've done episodes on ROI with SEO, so I won't go too deep here, but when it comes to SEO, I don't want you to think your return on investment is always measured by more patience and more money right away. Looking at ROI on SEO can simply be, are more people seeing my stuff? Which just means that if we are creating content online that is specific to our ideal client, specific to what they're searching, and answers questions that they have, which, by the way, all of that stuff I teach you how to find in SEO school. So if you don't know what they're searching, if you don't know what keywords that you need to have in your content, if you don't know who is looking at this content, what questions they are wanting answered, I teach you how to do that. But anyway, sometimes the ROI is just more people seeing your stuff. Because if we think about business in general, we know that businesses are built on solutions to problems. Just providing solutions to people via your blog or your website, it may not bring them to spend money with you right away. It may not make them a patient right away. Being a resource for them includes, writing a blog post that answers a question they have, having a web page that just tells them, hey, look, this service exists. If you need it, it exists. And they know that in the back of their mind, right? It's a touch point. And we know that touch points are very important. There are stats out there, I believe it's, eight touch points before they buy. If we're talking about a high ticket physical therapy, chiropractic, what have you, health and wellness business purchase, there's going to be more touch points typically, unless someone is in a dire need. And even then, if they're in a dire need for something, they're going to come to you because they were referred by someone else. And then guess what? They went to your website and searched around. AKA they looked at the content that you have on your website and then they decided to book with you. It wasn't just they randomly found you had no content, and then they said, let's spend $2,000. Like, it just isn't, that's not how it works. So people always ask me well, what's the value? The value is to become a resource and a binge-worthy source for your clients. So when we're talking about starting to do SEO work and make SEO work for you and your website work for you, what we're trying to do is have your website, your content on your website actually become a touch point or multiple touch points for a person, which means that they may not buy from you for years, for months. It just is not possible to say that when someone comes to our website, they're going to buy from us immediately. And when I'm explaining the value of SEO to people, sometimes people will say, well, then why would I do it if I know that they're not going to buy right away? What we're doing is we're establishing a long-term marketing plan. This long-term marketing plan means, or what this means to you, is that you are going to have return on investment of this service for years to come. It's not something that's going to work right now. Like if we're throwing money at Google Ads, that's going to be a timely lead, which means we're hoping that someone finds that ad and books with us right away. We're spending money to essentially make that happen. For SEO, what we're doing is we're putting our, stones in the pit, or we're investing daily and then hoping it pays off, or knowing it's going to pay off for years, not just today, not just tomorrow, not just this week while we're paying for it. Because SEO is free and SEO is compounding. And when we create for SEO, when we create blogs, when we have a website, when we have content for our ideal client, it not only works for us in that moment when they find it, but it also it works for other people years down the road. So I have many people who write a blog in 2022 that goes quote unquote viral, if you will, years down the road, aka I've seen it right now in 2024. So our content becomes what we call evergreen. And that's the goal of learning SEO, optimizing your blogs, knowing what people are searching, knowing what words to put in your blogs, knowing how to arrange your blogs, publishing them on Google. So that is the ROI of SEO, becoming a binge-worthy source for your ideal client, allowing yourself to give someone more touch points to get to know you, get to trust you, and then eventually invest in your services. And I always ask people, people will say, well, what about Google Ads? Like, is it better? Is it worse? My response, because I don't like to tell people, do this, do that, don't do this. Like, I want you to come to your own conclusion based on the information that is given to you. So my question for most people is, when is the last time you bought a healthcare service through an ad? If it says sponsored next to it, typically I'm scrolling past it. Now, that's not to say that Google Ads don't work, because that's not true. They do work. They do, they can, they will. But they cost money. So for me, I'm always thinking, let's optimize our organic strategy before we throw ads behind something. Let's start to get our website, our content, our practitioners, our services in front of people who we want to treat before we start throwing ads toward those people. I personally would rather come up for someone's question, why does my back hurt when I do squats? I'd rather come up for that question than have my business be a sponsored ad on Google the first time that they see me. So when it comes to SEO, our main goal, yes, is to increase our ranking in searches, which can happen through the creation of content and making sure that our content is actually answering questions that people are searching. Now, there is a strategy behind what questions we should start with and what questions we should write about first. We look at, how How many times is this specific question being answered, and how many resources are currently in existence online to answer that question? So what we start by looking at is we look at the stats for that stuff and we say, cool, there's a high supply or a high demand for this question to be answered and a low supply of content that actually answers the question. We answer the question and then we have a high likelihood of coming up on Google when someone asks that question. Amazing. That's the goal. So now we come up when someone actually asks that question online. Now, the value obviously is that we're creating a touch point. And once we create enough content that we become the I picked you source of Google, Google will say, this person is creating a lot of really good content. People are reading the articles that they post. Suddenly, we can start creating content around topics that are being searched that already have a high supply of answers. They're more competitive, right? So we start off with things that are very easy to rank for. There's a high demand for an answer. There's a low supply of answers. We rank for them. Google says, amazing, this person's great. I'm going to start looking at their content to give me more answers. Then we start to look into topics that are harder to rank for. Harder to rank for. So there's a high supply and a high demand, but because we are trusted with other topics first, now we have an easier chance of ranking for those topics that are actually harder to rank for. So there is a strategy that goes into it of which topics do we start with? What topics do we talk about next? How do we talk about those topics in order to be the one that is shown on Google and to be the one that is, I'm going to say, better than the other answers? And then we come up in searches for those topics. So that's really like the strategy that goes into it to decide what to write about. And, I will say that a lot of people, I'm going to take a drink really quick because I'm so thirsty. A lot of people will say, well, that's the part that I fear. I fear the part that I have to create content. And I fear the part that that's going to be the limiting factor. I can tell you that if you're a brick and mortar business, it's not just blogs. If you're an online business, it's not just blogs. It can be a podcast too, or a podcast in addition to, or instead of a blog. So it doesn't just have to be a blog, but also we can't expect Google to say, I want to take a step back. We cannot sit back and say that we deserve to be seen online if we are creating nothing for the people who are looking for the services or the solutions that we provide. So basically, we are asking Google to put our business in front of people when we have not proven that we are a good resource. Isn't that the same thing that people bitch about already, where invalid information comes up online and people are like, why is this even being shown? My point back to that is exactly. So you're asking Google to rank you and to put you in front of people when you haven't proven that you're a valid, viable, good source of information yet. So we work on that in SEO school and we say, okay, this is how we're going to write things. We're going to write our own content. We're going to make sure that we write answers to questions that people are actually answering. Because if you write content about things that people aren't searching, it's essentially a waste of your time. And I don't want to say like a complete waste, but you're not being strategic with your time. And that's really the goal of SEO school, right? Is to teach you exactly what to go for so that when you do use your time to create content, you're creating it in a way that's actually playing to let's just call it the Google algorithm, so that you can make the time that you're spending valuable, right? Our time is valuable. So why would we not want to put all of that time that we're using toward something that really is going to work for us? So that's really like the baseline of creating content. And people who say that they don't have time and, how can you make sure that, this is what we want to write about in order to get seen? There's data behind all of this stuff. It's not like we're just picking random topics. And that's why I tell people, if you join SEO school, you will learn how to figure out exactly what people are answering or asking so that you can answer those questions. And then Google starts to trust you, and then Google will start to rank you more. So that's really how you end up going up in search terms or up in search rank, going from 10 to 5 or going from 50 to 20. It's by creating content and becoming a source that Google trusts, and then just continuing to create content, because it's not something that you do one and done. It's an ongoing process. And that's why knowing how to do it is really valuable, because otherwise you're just going to have to keep hiring someone to do it for you. So that's really the background of SEO and, what it is, why you do it, how you do it. Now, lastly, what I'll cover is just, I always get asked the question of whether or not someone is ready for SEO school or ready to do SEO on their own. And I have my SEO school sales page next to me, because I feel like the way that I wrote this is exactly how I would be typing it in an email or saying on a podcast. So I'm going to, glance down that and just read it for you. So at its heart, SEO is about establishing good habits. So getting started early, just like investing, and I've said that a ton of times here, and creating quality content for your ideal client. There is never a bad time to start investing your time into learning SEO and optimizing your website and content for search engines, right? And even if you don't have a website right now, learning these principles will help you start off on the right foot as you build your website. So if you don't have a website, that doesn't mean you can't join SEO school or learn how to do SEO. And SEO is just like investing, in that if we don't play the game, if you don't try, if you don't create content, if you don't want to start early and often and, play that game, you don't have a chance to win. So I always say, if you want to start ranking in 2025, now is the time to start, because you can expect it to take 6 to 12 months. That is a realistic timeline here. And it may even take longer. But return on investment for SEO is different for everyone. For the people that I have worked with, visibility on Google and learning how to create quality content for their ideal client is simply creating one more touch point for their ideal client as a way to start or continue to build trust, and a way to give their ideal client consistent wins, right? Creating touch points, giving your prospective clients a win. And as business owners, we know that someone may be introduced to our content today, but buy from us 2 years from now. So if we don't own product stores. We don't own a hat that someone's going to find and buy. It's not an ad, right? We know this is going to take time. We know that we need to create touch points. And having that visibility gives you the opportunity to build trust over time and be the resource for someone, and that person, aka your ideal client. So SEO school and learning SEO principles goes well beyond the technical component of SEO, and focuses more on content creation and how to become a credible and binge-worthy source for your ideal client through useful and usable content. So when people ask me, are you sure I'm ready, or do you think I'm ready? It's truly never too early to learn these skills and habits, because it's never too early to invest in things that will help build trust for your ideal client, period. If you're in the business of helping people, it's never too early to learn how you can be more of a resource for them. How can you give more and introduce more touch points for that person before they invest with you? How can you increase trust in your services, your expertise, what you do in general? How can you do that for people? Or even just letting people know that help exists for them and that you have a service that can help them. You understand that they are going through this symptom, this, specific diagnosis, and there's help for them. That is huge. And that is done through SEO and being the person who comes up on Google when they search their problem. Think about all the times that you or your parent or your friend searches on Google their problem and what they're going through. And people will also say, well, aren't word of mouth referrals better than SEO? Sure. But also, if someone recommends a person to you, don't you go to their website first and say, oh, yeah, I guess this person would help me. Or maybe you go to their website and you're like, this person seems like they're fake. They have nothing here except for their name and their business name. So just understand that, yes, word of mouth is still 110% the best and gold standard of referrals, but know that having a website that speaks to your ideal client and knowing how to create that content that really does address the trust component of your business is huge. So that's really how I would describe SEO and the value of SEO. as if I were talking to someone who knows nothing about it yet, or if we want to go down and deeper and say like a 5-year-old or to a 5-year-old. If you have questions about SEO school, like I said, it is open for enrollment until this Friday, and it will not open again until late fall. So make sure you jump on that. And I am happy to answer any questions you have about SEO school if you're a good fit. Yes, it's a good fit for online and brick and mortar businesses. Take a look at the FAQ page. I do address some of that there and also throughout the sales page. But please let me know if you have questions. I am happy to answer them. And if you choose to join SEO school, I cannot wait to have you inside the program and to help you tackle Google. Like this, it's so fun for me. The stats are so fun for me. I love celebrating all of the wins that students have. So I am just super excited. So if you choose to join SEO school, amazing. You will get homework the minute that you enroll, which is so fun. And the homework really does pay off for people. So I'm pumped, super, super excited. I look forward to all of the people who are joining now and in the future. And also just thank you for listening to this episode. If you did not know what SEO was and what the value of SEO was, I hope you learned something here. And if not, then please continue to listen because I'll continue to talk about it and might click, in the future. So, alrighty, friends, that's all I've got for you. I hope you have had or are having a lovely day, whatever day it is when you're listening to this. I will catch you next time.